So hey everyone, welcome back to Rebecca's Carving Arts and Crafts. So today I'm going to do another book review. So this one is Banjo by Grantlee Kieza. I might have butchered that name. This was provided to me in exchange for a review by HarperCollins Australia. So I'm going to do a review on this, but I haven't actually finished this book yet. That is partly because I'm finding I can read 6 to 8 pages at a time, just because there is a lot of information in this book. It is a biography, so it has a lot more information and history, and this is my first time attempting to read a biography, so I'm just taking it slow and doing 6 to 8 pages in between reading other books or doing my other reviews. And so I just wanted to put that in there. But the thing is, I would highly recommend this book. It is actually very interesting. I actually surprised myself at how much I'm enjoying this book. So the thing that I'm really enjoying about it is that I'm loving learning more about Australian history back in the time when Banjo Paterson was alive in Australia, and living in Australia. And I'll be honest, I didn't really know anything about Banjo Paterson or the Great Australian Past or any of that. It's kind of good to be able to read about that and learn a bit more about Australian history. So I won't go into detail because I don't want to spoil things, but it basically covers from Banjo's grandparents through to when Banjo was born, and then it covers more of Banjo's own life and Banjo's life growing up with his mum and how his life sort of unfolded, and how pretty much Banjo became Australia's greatest storyteller, it says. But the thing is, I haven't yet gotten to that part. I'm still in the stage where he's growing up. I've read, let's just see, I've read, where's my bookmark? Here. So I've read 109 pages of this book, and I'm really enjoying it. It has things like pictures in here, so you'll see pictures to allow you to learn more about his life, see pictures of places he lived and things like that. It also contains, which I haven't gotten up to this yet, but it contains his poems in there too. So these areas here are poems. That one's for the Man from Snowy River, which is quite a famous one. It also mentions about how eventually some of his songs, like Waltzing Matilda and that, would become the great Aussie icons, I guess you could say. And so I find in general I'm really loving this book, even though it is not the type of book I chose to read before this, and even though it's taking me a long time to get through it, just because I can only retain so much information from it before I have to stop and think about it before I can come back to it again. So I've sort of put this one down for a bit, and I'm reading some of my other review books and my story books because I just needed to do that. But I'm definitely going to be keeping on coming back to this one and reading the 6 to 8 pages and going away and thinking about it. And it's actually really, really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it for my first experience of a biography, because I honestly never thought that I would particularly enjoy biographies. But this one I really am enjoying, and I'm glad that I took the chance and decided to try it, and I feel it was worth it. And it's very interesting learning about things that I didn't know, which is kind of embarrassing being an Australian and not knowing that anything about the Australian icons or heroes or any of that. So it's kind of, I guess, good being able to learn and know more about that. I would definitely rate this very highly. Considering I haven't finished it yet, I'm not going to give it a star rating, but I would highly recommend people reading this, particularly if you don't know a lot about Australian history, or you want to learn more about Australian history or how Australian history went down. I would highly recommend it. It goes through the many periods of Banjo's life, from his grandparents and how they came to Australia, to his parents, and then to his own life, and it also brings in about his cousins and just tells a lot more about his family in general. And it mentions on the back that he knew some famous people, and he did all sorts of interesting things. I kind of don't know if I should say it because I don't want to spoil it, but I would definitely highly recommend reading this, particularly if you're into biographies. But even if you don't normally pick up a biography, like I don't, I would say definitely consider this one, because I've actually surprised myself with how interested I am in this book. And even though I find I have to have those periods where I stop it and then go back to it again, I still find that I'm still just as involved and interested in what is going on in this book, even after time that I've stopped to read one of my fiction books or something like that. So I would definitely recommend reading this book. I'm not sure if there's much else that I can say on it. It does explain more about the Australian landscape too, and how different it was in those days to current days or current periods. But yeah, if you just want to learn more about Australia and more about Banjo Paterson and the creator of Waltzing Matilda and The Man from Snowy River, I would definitely recommend you getting this, even if you haven't particularly read about those or haven't particularly picked up a biography book. As I'm learning by doing these reviews, it's not necessarily a bad thing to try something that you haven't tried, because it's actually very interesting to try some new things and actually be surprised at yourself. Like, yes, fantasy is still very much the thing that I love, but at the same time, I'm glad that I'm trying new genres and reading new things, because I'm finding a lot more interest and variation and range in the books that I enjoy, and I never thought that would happen, kind of thing, just being the fantasy person. But yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe and comment, as I always love hearing from you. If you do pick up this book, I really hope you enjoy it and get the chance to read it, because it is a very, very interesting book and I'm really enjoying it. And I will see you next time. Bye!